Hey, it's Scribs. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a video I've wanted to do for a long while. We're going to be doing an art critique. I've watched other people do it. Some people are a little bit too harsh. So I got to thinking, what would it be like if I did it? And that's what I'm going to be trying to do today for this amazing artist who goes by Starburst740 here on YouTube. So you should go check her out. So when I first initially started this off, it was a while ago, and I ended up doing it wrong. I improved a lot within that time in order to actually tackle what I wanted to and talk about how I would have, how I would improve the facial structure and the dimensions of this to make it look a bit more 3D. But one incredible thing that happened that she didn't do, she did on her own volition, was, I didn't ask her to do it, she did on her own volition, was she made a video talking about elements she wanted to add into her style. And that's often one of the things I think is missing when other creators like work on critiquing artists. So for the second go around, I think I did a much better job because I thought about form. So I'm gonna kind of go through it in simpler terms and break it down bit by bit, but I did want you to see the overall speed paint, and I'm gonna talk about form a little bit and how that really helps with drawing and getting the goals specifically that this artist wants. All right, we're breaking it down into smaller steps. Let's go. Okay, so I'm gonna go through what I wanted to basically and show you what I did and why I think. Okay, so one of the things that Starburst talked about liking was how sketches of Shay would shade the bottom parts of eyes, and that it would give more dimension. And actually the reasoning behind that is because an eye is typically an eye has these features, right? You have the iris, the pupil, the cornea, whatever, right? The iris, the pupil. What's the white part of it called? I forget. But you have the upper lid and the lower lid. And this is how your skin will fold around it. And that's the cornea, whatever. Don't typically draw that anymore or draw like that. But the reason you have these skin folds is because the round part of your eye, the white of your eye, is actually pretty pushed into your head. You know, it's not just there. It's like a whole shape. So if you were to touch your, like right here on your eye, you would feel it. So that causes the skin to fold over on the bottom and the lower lid. But sometimes when you add these details, it can make somebody look a bit old. So in order to avoid making somebody look old, the structure of the eye, which I drew over here, but I'm going to redraw it here, which it's like, these follow along, I'm going to talk about form, but these follow along that line. And that's one of the most interesting parts. So in order to make it not look like that, like a older person, what you'd want to do is add for the form a little bit of a darker color. Oh no, that's not the right color at all. A little bit of a darker color, so it doesn't end up looking so crazy. It's all about creating this dimension in the eye. Another thing was that there was this one artist who added another thing to the eye, which is the red line you have. I'm not sure what that's called, but you can add that as well. So you add that to the upper eye. And then for the top lid, you can also add this color to make dimension. See? I hope you can see. It's dark in here. I need to turn the light on. But then, this is kind of what you would do, right? Add dimension to the eye. That's what I tried to do here. Then it gets into the shading of the pupils. For that, usually I do something like multiply, turn it down. I pick a purple color or a red color, depends. Add dimension, add dimension. Because the eye has this, because the eye has this quality to it, right? You have to think about form and follow the shapes. So, I'm going to talk about form in a little bit. But that basically gets you to add dimension to the face. So you'll often see people add shading like this. I think I added a little bit more as well on the bottom, but I did it with a different color. And then I added the highlight in the eye as well. So this is something you do. And then she talked about how she liked like stubby eyelashes, so to speak. So you can take a more square brush or a blocky brush and add those on the bottom. They would come out after this red line. Okay. And then thick liner on the top. Oh, that's what it's called, a waterline. You're drawing your waterline. I was trying to remember, like, what is it called in makeup? So you're drawing along your waterline. You don't have to do it like this. You can definitely change the method, but to thicken the top, thicken the top, just do that. Make the bottom thinner. Add lashes in a motion that goes out. You know, not straight up like that. That is what makes it look pretty fake. Start in one area and go like that. Okay? And then they curl around the other way if you want to add those details. Normally I don't. Normally I add lashes like this. And I try to make this shape. And then I usually take away from it after, in hopes of getting a more organic look. Doesn't always work, but when it works, I do feel a bit victorious. Okay? Something like that. Now for the noses. Like the way I really messed up on this nose, but she kind of liked the way Ayoops did the nose and other people did their noses. So for this, I'm gonna talk about the structure of a nose as well. Okay, so you see here, I have the structure of a nose down. I'm gonna also pull up in the head on Pinterest so you guys can see like how I'm doing this guide basically. So you see this. So the nose has this top part. This is the bridge of your nose. Then you have sides. It's all about planes of the face, okay? And then you have the bottom of your nose. And I always forget to split it up into this bottom part, you know? But that's how it would go. So for this one, to add dimension to it, we're gonna paint a thing. Okay, for this I like to do a bit of soft shading. So take my brush, circle the area, and then go in the direction of the nose. Try to add that same amount there. Try to add that same amount there. Okay. And then you would want to take a more blendable brush and paint over this stuff to erase the lines. You can kind of see this type of style in like Marvel Rivals and stuff. Inner. Here we go. Then you do this one darker and this one mid-tone. Okay. Then you do this one darker and this one mid-tone. Okay. Like that. So that's kind of the setup I did for this nose, but not as well. So the thing that she liked that Ayubs did was added this circle at the bottom. And that circle that she adds at the bottom, she usually does with her line art. And that is because it's the area of shadow under this nose. Oh, it shouldn't have been a clipping mask. But it's the area of shadow underneath here. You see? So when she lines her art, she'll just add this shadow like that. So that's the line you would want to add for yourself. Okay? You don't have to line everything, and you don't have to make it all black either. She has a certain trick that she does on her for her line art. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. You can do whatever method you want to. I prefer to not keep my lines black unless it's the outline, just to prevent harsh contrast. But yeah, that's how it would go for the nose. Okay, now that I've also done this design, just to show again, with more lines about how you would take this character in an updated style and add form and all the details that you want to it. I definitely think I could make, the top line a bit more thick. And then here, this is the bottom that you will shade in. Okay, you'll shade that in like this, kind of like blush or something. Okay. Yeah, I think that's everything. And you can also, I don't know if you don't really have that here. I think you have like that line. I don't know if you want to keep that, but it doesn't look bad if you do it like that. Which you can now see with the structure of the nose is the nose bridge into the sides of the nose structure. That's kind of what you're doing. When I draw ears, I just do this loopy shape. And you didn't really mention anything about ears, so I didn't focus particularly on that. I really like the hair as well. It mimics the shark fin to me. I think this is a great character design. So now I wanted to show you this body pose and how you could take that and improve upon it. So, when I was watching your video, you were talking about proportions and form, and how you didn't exactly know, but you started to learn how to draw the arm. When I saw you drawing the arm, I saw you doing something like you split the top of the arm and the bottom of the arm. Into multiple pieces, right? And that is very good. The arm is connected to, if you look at a skeleton or something, you'll see that the arm is connected, the front of the arm is connected to the pectoral muscle, and the back of the arm is connected to your shoulder blade, by the way. So add that little bit here. Okay. So you broke this down into multiple, I think 3 parts, and you don't actually have to do that. Not that it's bad or anything, but you can actually break down the arm, the top arm, into 2 parts that you draw together. So, as you can see here, this top of the arm is going to be the shoulder. Then you have the bicep and tricep, which, depending on the character, will be rounder if they're muscular and skinnier if they're not, or rounder if they're fat and have more tissue on them. Have more fat on the skin that will cause, not tissue, fat on the skin that will cause the muscles to change and add rolls and creases in the skin. Then you have the forearm. Can't spell. I'm so sorry. Hope you get that. But that's also one big part. So this is a part. This is a part. And this is a part. That's an ugly color. But this makes it a lot easier to draw the arm in these poses that you have, in the pose that you have, and in any pose. And it makes it a bit more fluid. So, for example, this arm here that you have, boom, connect it to this shape. I guess is it coming forward a bit, or is it still at the side? So this arm here that you have, if you wanted it, I see what the arm is doing, but yeah, it's coming off the body a little bit of movement. Yes, if you wanted it to. Oh, and also where your arms typically end in the body is important as well. So, it ends mid-thigh. So that's a little bit shorter than your arm would be, but it ends over here. So I'm assuming that this arm is actually coming forward a bit. So here we go. To make this happen for shortening, you got to keep in mind the form. Okay. Think about it like that. These contour lines are meant to go in the direction that the arm is going. Okay, so that's the bicep and the shoulder blade. Or is that too much? Might be a little too much. See, take it down a little bit. Yeah, no need to have it like that. So add those. And then you have the forearm following that same shape. And when you do foreshortening, the arm gets bigger as it comes towards you. It's kind of like this. So usually you want to make it pretty dramatic if you're doing like real foreshortening. But since this is just like a tiny bit forward, I think that if you exaggerate the shapes enough and show like how the forearm is wrapping around the figure and coming forward, that will be enough. So then there's the hand. At this point, you're tossing the hand back. So the hand has a structure as well. And I'm going to push it there so that you can kind of create that same flowy shape you were having. So your thumb might not go out like that. It actually might go forward and overlap over this other stuff. And the shape of the thumbs and the hands can also be broken down into that same form. Yeah, it can be broken down into that same form that people often use. Where they split up the hand into just certain shapes. You could add like a pinky down here or something. A lot of the time, people are like, you know, you don't have to copy a hand exactly like how you see it. You can kind of just do your own thing that looks right eventually. It's not an immediate start that will get you to do that. It's not something that comes immediately, I meant to say. That will have you drawing that way. But, yeah. I'm gonna add a little finger back there or something. You don't have to. This other part, I always feel like I don't make the wrist look big enough. So I hope I did this time. And, that makes sense. So this part of the art actually would look a little different because I'm going to show you over here. So this will actually look a bit different because, I thought I wasn't recording and I got so nervous because the body is still going to be connected. So let's see how I break down this top part. You have your neck, you have your face, whatever. Not whatever, but I do a little bit of a rounding part for this. So you can add a bit more dimension. Let me duplicate this and put it here so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay. Sorry, I sang like that. Maybe that's too forward, and that's not really what you wanted. Okay. Maybe it's just off to the side. Okay, well, if it's just off to the side, then it will look different. So I break down the torso into this upper part and then this lower part. So 2 shapes. 1 second. I'm not on the right layer. Okay, 2 shapes. I'm gonna say you have your shoulder here, shoulder here. For this to be blocking the arm that way, is this a fist? Fists? This to be blocking the arm that way. you might twist this torso a bit. So draw the ribs in the direction you want it to be. So that way instead. This makes half of the body, this makes the side of the body show a little bit. So I like to do that. Change the shape of the hips a bit. And then you can make the hips face back forward if you want to. Oh, that's not how I like to do it. But anyway, it might change the perspective on the hands a little bit in the body, but yeah, the tail is coming from the right place, that's for sure. And I was just trying to show you how this should connect and how this overlapping would actually hide the hand a bit, I think. Yeah. Does that make a bit more sense? I really like the shoes and the design on this. This is actually so cool. I really like your art. I think you're incredibly talented, and I hope that this video helped you. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like me to do this with your art, please email me and send your art and send some inspirations you have for style, and let me know specifically what you want to change or improve in your art. Thank you. Bye.